And here we are. Thank you so much, Petra, for being with us today. It's a pleasure and an honor to have you at the LinkedIn Live talks, where talent talks. So you are a talent, but you also have been instrumental in bringing talent forward. In so many ways, you've opened many streams for mostly women in tech, in Web3, in fintech, to have a voice. And you've created this with Rolemodel Rebels. Let me introduce you briefly. So Petra here has been first started as a lawyer, then a banker. She's been in so many different renowned institutions, to name a few: UBS, JP Morgan, Citibank. So she has a lot of corporate experience, but eventually she decided to leave the corporate space and move into. She was awarded the European Women Legal Tech in 2020. She created the Swiss Legal Technology Hub. She is also the co-founder of the Davos Digital Forum, but most recently what she did was creating the Rolemodel Rebels, which is a hub for women who want to become thought leaders, perhaps, women who really want to position themselves aggressively in the market. And I'll let you introduce yourself and tell us all about it. Tell us how you got here and share with us the journey.
Thank you very much, for Rebecca, for having me here tonight, and hello everyone. Well, as Rebecca already said, I have a long-standing career, banking, legal, etc. I think years ago I just realized, well, it's no longer I didn't feel very well in the banking environment, and then decided to start my own business, which I did, Swiss Legal Technology Conference, co-founded Davos Digital Forum. And then we had the pandemic. And during the pandemic, maybe you remember, there were a lot of international hackathons, and European versus virus hackathon, the Swiss one, the German one. And I was there as mostly as a mentor. And while I was sitting there, and, do you remember, a lot of young people, men and women, they just sent me an email saying, "Hey, Petra, can you please advise me? How can I get a job in legal tech, for example?"
Yeah.
And then I realized, hey, I never had a role model. I never could have asked anyone doing and getting an answer to this question. There was no one. It simply didn't exist. And that was the idea of creating Rolemodel Rebel, which is basically, I would say, kind of a think tank dedicated to all the new emerging technologies, digital new jobs, digital new business models. And because of my age, I wanted to bring in all the C-level women whom I had met during my life, and just match them with mid-career women, and of course, women who are just starting their career.
Mm-hmm.
And so Rolemodel Rebels was created 1.5 years ago. We have more than 3,000 members in the meantime from 42 countries. Members are women only. However, men are allowed as speaker and as participants. They're just some exemptions to the rule when it comes to topics like, for example, femtech.
Yeah. So, well, this kind of answers my first question, that I wanted to understand your inspiration for the hub and the name also, because the name also comes across immediately. It's catchy. And then your goal, right? Like your inspiration, but your end goal, like what are you trying to give to them? Maybe the mentorship, maybe employment opportunities, education, inspirational,
What I just felt is, there are so many institutions out, and I'm one of these many. However, what I have seen, we either have groups of women where you feel it's much dedicated to the founder, or we do have groups which is it's not really content driven. And I wanted to have a platform that is content driven. So I want to give a platform for all these outstanding, wonderful women to train and to present their capabilities to a broader society. And that is basically the idea. And this is why you, for example, on the website, you can hardly find me. And you see all the other women, because it's about them and not about me. And I wanted to really integrate those outstanding women to become something much better than kind of a YouTube university or a university. Because what I feel is you have a lot of stuff online that's not really content driven,
Yeah.
or you have like all the academia that is very often a little bit behind because time is so quick, or changes are so quick at the moment.
I love this decentralized perspective. And I spoke to women in Web3, and they also had this: there's no star. We're all very valuable for the hub. And there's, because some hubs can be a little bit more focused on one or two or three groups, or maybe individuals, and then that's great for them, but not necessarily for the rest of the community.
Yeah.
Yeah, how do you see that? Tell me.
Yeah, this is why I just like I'm very much, I was always very much content driven. So, and this is why I want to give stages to those women who really can give something back. We have fantastic women. We have a lady who gave a talk about implementing ethical AI into digital business models, and this was not a feel good
Yeah.
whatsoever webinar. It was someone with a mathematical background
Yeah.
telling us what she is doing, how she implements it, how she makes sure that a fintech company basically has ethical AI in place, and not, for example, I am applying for a mortgage and it's all online digital, and in the end the outcome is you are not eligible for a mortgage and nobody knows why. Maybe the reason is I'm too old.
Yeah.
So that is, so what we do have, coming back to, I wanted to have master classes and coachings and courses on a very, very high level with really outstanding women. And the majority of these classes are free.
How many women do you have in your hub today?
We have around 3,000 women. And
3,000. Wow.
yes, and we do have, what I think is most important is they're from really 42 mainly European countries. However,
Yeah.
we also have India, Pakistan, and also the US.
Okay.
But we have the majority of women comes from European countries, and I'm very, very proud that we do have a lot of women coming from countries like Bulgaria, former Yugoslavia,
Yeah.
Slovenia, Turkey, etc., etc. They now, during the pandemic, they have realized what they can get, how they can work remotely, even for international companies, but they are lacking the network.
Yeah.
And this is something, especially the young women, and this is something I'm extremely proud of, that we do have a lot of young women coming from, I wouldn't say, of course, not underrepresentative, but countries. They are not like, say, these are not the most posh countries in the world, and that's, from my eyes, very important.
Yeah. No, of course, because I mean, it's true that there are places where the buzz exists, right? Like, in Zug, there's this crypto buzz, and you can meet people from that industry very easily, right? In Silicon Valley, you're gonna meet everyone from the tech space. Basel, pharma. So you're bringing the buzz to them somehow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's interesting. But how are you? Because I want to help in positioning you for sponsorship, because I suppose you're not for profit, so you need corporates to support this somehow.
Yeah. So we have a series about new digital jobs, and
Yeah.
there we already have companies saying, "Hey, that's a cool format," rather than us drafting ads no one is reading. We could present this job in a masterclass, and, for example, let people know what does it take to get a job in sustainability.
Yeah.
What and then you can make all these kind of jobs much more tangible. So there
Yeah.
we do have companies helping us, and we are just working on new business models behind. But that is something where companies say, "Hey, that's a cool place for us to work with this group,"
Yeah.
because we do have the potential candidates on our platform, and they have the jobs.
Yeah. So you can sort of match make those talents, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's wonderful because a lot of jobs are new, like chief of staff or um, yeah, like revenue maximization or head of growth. Like, what does it do? Like, how can we access them? So you make that more available to them, I suppose, with the
Yeah.
platform.
For example, if you get to know that working as a data scientist or in a company, that that of course you need to have a data background, but a data scientist cannot run these whole projects because they need someone in marketing, they need someone in communication, meaning that someone who would like to work in this area from communication needs to learn about data science. And
Mm-hmm.
on the other hand, the guy who is in data science need to know how to position, how to do sales.
Yeah,
So what we see here in these master classes, we're going to position these new jobs to make crystal clear that basically no one will be able to do it on their own. You have to work in teams, unless of course you are someone who's a hairdresser or stuff like that.
yeah,
But in all the other new job profiles, you have to work in teams, and you need to have an understanding from the whole environment, not only from your own subject, like let's say mathematics and data
yeah.
science.
And but are the events mostly online, or you have a mix, face to
They
face?
are
Yeah,
they are mostly online. We intend to do something a big one next year
yeah.
where we're going to meet. But for us as a Christian, we wanted already do something this year, but then. First of all, well, we were in the process, and then we need firstly to figure out where to do this. We need to choose a
My
country.
place.
We need to choose a country
Yeah,
where it's affordable,
yeah,
where people really can come, and that means you have to go through something like, I
yeah.
don't
It's not going to be Switzerland.
exactly. Switzerland is then not on the number one on the list. Yeah.
Yeah. No, because I heard this from women in Web3. They were really making it intentional, despite the fact that Web3 is very much metaverse oriented, amongst other topics. But they really wanted to make the effort to meet face to face, because that community gets to bond differently. Uh,
Hmm.
I don't know if that's um, yeah, it's not always easy because if you have a global community, then the challenge is going to be where.
Yeah.
And that's really it. But tell me, because I got your newsletter today and it was telling the story of like, here you're going to have tools to explore the metaverse and discuss the future of jobs, so the future of work. Are you planning to create a platform in the meta space? How are you tackling
Not
that?
yet.
Okay.
Not yet. Not
Yeah.
yet. Yes, but it's of course one of our intentions because we are
Awesome.
really having a very close look on all the topics, emerging technology, whether it is the AI or the Web3 space. We're really focusing on new technologies, but not yet. We are not moving
Not
into
there
the
yet.
yeah.
Okay. Um, in terms of the audience, so who is taking part in the events? So other women, or do you open it to everyone else? How is?
Well, we do have different formats. We have twice a month on Tuesdays we have master classes, and they are mostly dedicated to, let's say, in a way, new jobs in the digital area, in the emerging technology, and everyone can come. There's no
Okay.
limitation, but we always we this is where we really say everyone can come. And as I said before, speakers, we also had a man as a speaker. It's not that we
Okay.
exclude this. And then these courses are for free, but this is basically just a kind of a teaser to check what's going on. And then we do
Yeah.
have 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks master courses or courses, whatever classes you call them. And for these classes, you have to pay. And
Yeah.
we just finished with one which was like breathtaking. I have to say, it was run by Sudha Ketteparal from the UK, and she was one of the drummers for the Spice Girls. And 15 years
Wow.
ago, she started her own business. This is a pitching company,
Yeah,
and
you told me about her. Yeah.
absolutely fantastic. We were running a course that was called Pitch Like a Badass. It
Hmm.
was 6 weeks. And to answer your question, in this course, we had the youngest one was from Turkey. She was in her early 20s, and the oldest one was nearly 60. And was here. They were all freelancers, the majority. There was also one professor, but we had women who are starting their own business, AI and legal tech. There was another one in, she has something in sustainability. There was one in, she is a psychologist, she's starting a coaching business, and they all wanted to know how to pitch. And that was a really, really great class. And this is where women, this is from all over, we had from, I don't know, from 14 different countries, and that's really cool. So,
Yeah. Wow,
and
this
then,
is wonderful. Yeah. So if we have knowledgeable people in our circles, we can refer them to you, but they would have to become members and then present their content, right? That's how
yeah. So
okay.
we, because we are very, very, as I said, very content driven. We are about to structure the program for the next 4 months, for the next year, etc., etc. And we're really looking forward to bringing valuable content. And what we see, really, what we see, this mixture between traditional kind of meetings and topics like pitch like a badass, this
Yeah.
mix between technology and, let's say, communication capabilities, this is a very, that's really, really good, works very well.
Awesome. Okay. And so anybody who has who is a specialist in trendy topic could come and be part of this community and share her or his knowledge basically, and
Yeah.
the audience is mostly going to be women, young girls also, or are
Um,
you?
to be honest, this is the group that, in my eyes, doesn't really understand the importance of networks, because
Yeah.
they hang out with their friends, they are on TikTok, but
Yeah.
they really don't see how important it is. So the majority of our audience is mid-career level.
Yeah,
So
mid-career level. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And in Europe, you said EMEA. I mean,
yeah, but
yeah,
it's all mid-career. Mid-career, it's something in their 30s to their mid-40s. That's the majority of our. But again, also women who at the age of 50 say, "Hey, I've had enough from corporate life. I'm starting my own
I'm
business."
starting my own business.
Yeah.
Are you planning to match these founders, potential founders, to investors? Do you think that's something you might offer in the future?
This is something we're thinking about, but
Okay,
it's still we are not there
it's
yet.
still,
And
yeah,
that
very,
might be on a sideline.
yeah.
That's not number one priority for us.
I do have a lot of people that I work with who end up excited about the option of being part of a board as a board advisor, or maybe just like a mentor to founders. Is that also something that you think could be
We do have coaching platform. We have 100% automated coaching platform behind, and we do have there are some women who really offer these services, and I think that's very important. But again, what I feel and what you also see in the participants is there's the majority of younger people don't understand how important it is to have someone advising them
yeah,
about
a
their
mentor? Yeah,
business. And so therefore, this is something, it's super important from my point of view, but a lot of the younger people, they just start their business, they
yeah,
are excellent at it, no doubt about this, but they are too excellent, they oversee, and they overlook what is important in the eyes of investors, etc. And
yeah.
we have a lot of women who can help, but it's also a question of if someone is really keen getting this advice.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, the more mature your career is, the more you are keen on investing to preserve it.
Mhm.
If it's not developed, maybe then the investment is going to be smaller in that way because you have less to lose.
That's
um, how about emerging trends? Do you see women getting ahead in, I don't know, let's just look at industries that are more open to them. Do you have any advice for women to penetrate industries that are perhaps more open to them? Um,
industries in general, or industry in the emerging
Emerging trends,
the-
emerging technology. Yeah.
You see, there are a lot of industries where women can really, where we can get the most coolest job. Ones I would say, first of all, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and all
Yeah.
these research, ethical considerations, etc., etc. There are tons of women needed to also, fight the bias. We still have the bias in the data. So look about these like jobs in the whole area of ethical AI. There you need, of course, you need to have a kind of, data science background. I don't think you can do
Yeah.
this. And then, of course, another one, and I would say a lot of people would say, "Hey, super boring," is that cybersecurity. This
Okay.
is super important, and I think cyber attacks, they will become more and more relevant. So that is something, and you can work very independently. You can work remote. Another one already mentioned, data science and analytics, but Internet of Things is something where I do believe there is more where women can work. And then I think one topic we should really focus on the whole area of health tech and telemedicine. And
Okay.
one of our role models, or basically two, they both were medical doctors, and they were just at home, sitting at home 12 years ago with little kids, and they're from Pakistan, and they came from a very open-minded family, so it was not forbidden that they work, but they couldn't work for various reasons. One was just new to the city, and the other one had a depression after her pregnancy. And
Hmm.
then because they were already so successful in dealing with the clients, then nurses called them at that time. FaceTime was just like started, and they
Yeah.
called them on FaceTime saying, "Hey, I know you're sitting at home and don't want to bother you, but can you help me with this patient?" Cut a long story short, from there they created one of the biggest telemedicine platforms, telehealth platform in Pakistan. They are fantastic. So there are jobs in this area. Another one where I do believe women can really contribute is the whole green technology and sustainability.
Okay.
There's so much to do. And again, here I also have to say it's not that you work in sustainability. You can work as a banker in sustainability because more and more funds and all the investment, they have to prove that they are ESG conform, that they are sustainable. So you as a banker need to understand, hey, what are the rules? What are the implementations? Which European Union rules do I have to implement to become a green bond, etc., etc.? You
Yeah.
can look at sustainability on so many area, and climate change, etc., etc. Then you mentioned that Zurich, Greater Zurich, Zook
Zoo. Yeah.
chain cryptocurrency. This
Yeah.
is also something we can work in. And then, of course, another topic which naturally goes with women, but I think they are also good at it, is at education technology, online learning.
Okay.
I really also do believe is something is, and then the whole topics of remote work, collaboration tools, which AI tools make my life as, let's say, for a mother or a working mother easier. Diversity and inclusion initiatives. There is so much going on, but what I really do believe is important that if you want to work in these areas, you have to make yourself a little bit comfortable with the situation that you also have to do lifelong learning, and you need to have a fundamental understanding about data and analysis, and whether you like it or not, that I think is important. And it's not rocket science. So I think there are so many interesting areas where you really can work as a woman with a big success in the emerging technology. And to be quite honest, if I look at it, to me it's like, oh my gosh, it's like a kid in a toy shop. What is the exciting one? I couldn't decide. I think there's so,
Yeah, there's a lot. You mentioned so many areas that are super trendy now.
yeah. And I think there's so many opportunities. But what I do believe very often is like that a lot of women look at these jobs from a, let's say, from a soft point of view.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I do believe they should really look at it. Okay, cybersecurity, that's cool. I can work from wherever I am. What do I need to learn? Which, let's say, program languages? Okay, if you say that's nothing for me at all, then look at these niches like sustainability or health. What can you add to the table? And I think, and that is something I was always fascinating with learning. Always. I always loved. I loved going to school because I was so curious. And today, this is a time where you have to be aware that there will be no way that you can get away with your career, with your university degree you did in 2010.
Yeah.
Forget.
Yes.
And therefore, I think this is something. But if you look at it from this point of view, the opportunities, what you can do if you have a basic understanding of all this, then I think it's just like it's enormous what can be done today for and which areas women can work today.
So you partner with coaches, mentors, headhunters, right? I think you mentioned there's a bit of a matchmaking.
Yeah,
Uh,
we partner with those companies. We started, and in the beginning, of course, it's always that they look at you and what are they doing, and now they see how we approach all these emerging technology topics, and who is in our network. And what I think is really important to me is, and this is whoever listens, encourage you to join our Rolemodel Rebels club, because you just only have to apply with your LinkedIn profile, because we want, and you answer 2 or 3 questions,
yeah.
because we want to know who is on our platform. Plus, for those role models who are already there, like you, Rebecca, we now, just today, by the way, in the newsletter as well, we opened the opportunity that we even have a website, a site where you can also promote your own event. And
Oh, wow.
this is, so we are really going to broaden this group and to have a platform for really women who have something in common. They want to learn together. They are super curious. And which I think is also very important, it's not a loose whatsoever group. It's a group with a purpose, and a group where people know, wow, this I could really take advantage if I get in
Yeah,
touch with this one.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it serves their purpose. Do you encourage them in terms of like making them publish or be on podcasts? Is there any sort of like
We,
thought leadership
we have
to?
no podcast, but what we do is we have women, we feature women, we feature
Yeah.
stories,
Okay.
and, and we really feature stories where we see, well, this is so absolutely amazing. We have, for
Yeah.
example, a coaching story. We have a young lady, I think she's from Poland, but she lives in Berlin. And she saw, because she was in the filming industry, how dominant and how horrible
Oh, yeah. That is a tough one. Yeah.
what the porn industry has. And she was coached by one of our role models who comes from with a medical background and a clinical, and she has worked in hospitals. And she created a website. It's really called Porn Better. And it's
Wow.
you have to go to this website, and where she features all those companies and all those I would say companies who treat people in this industry with dignity, where
Yeah.
you have sustainable and good working conditions, etc., etc. And this was created with our platform, with the network of our platform. And
Wow.
then on the other hand, of course, we just had a course last week, a masterclass about Web3
Yeah.
marketing. And this is another job, because because we have all these big companies, for example, the whole crypto and blockchain industry in Switzerland. So we have companies like Nike or Starbucks. They already work in the Web3.
Yeah.
They already have this whatever giveaway, and only digital asset holders get the newest, I don't know, Air Force Nike shoe. And those companies, they are desperately looking for marketer who understand the
This.
mechanism of
Yeah.
the Web3. So and this is what we want to do, we want to open the eyes for the new opportunities, what's going on. We will be also featuring in the future AI tools for day-to-day use, and we will do this together with famous women who are already working in this space. So really give valuable contact. On the other hand, and we will have, of course, then we will extend the whole premium stuff, where you really get training with something you will never ever get on YouTube University. Pitch like a badass is such an
No,
absolute.
no, yeah. Well, it's really interesting. I mean, my next question would be about, the challenges that women face, because you're so inspiring with the opportunities that you're bringing to them, with the options you're giving to them, with, encouraging them to explore areas that they would probably otherwise not consider. I mean, cybersecurity actually is a really great area, because whether AI is taking over the world or not, there will always be bugs, right? No matter what. So this is for sure a place you can bet on, cybersecurity. But in terms of challenges, like, what are the recurring complaints, from women in the platform? Like, what do you normally hear to be the limiting factors for their careers to develop?
Yeah, I think whether we like it or not, but it's still the fact that 90% of the care work is done by women. And we are not talking about kids. We are talking about everything, about household, about elderly people, about parents, about everything. And the most funny stuff is, like, for example, very, very rich, wealthy couple in Australia, there was a study. They could hire a nurse, so they had a nanny, they had a nanny, they had everything was done, but there was still some work to do in the household. And even in these constellations, 90% of the rest work that was still to be done was done by the women. So the fact is that they are all blamed for they are blamed if they go work and the kid is going to a kindergarten or to whatsoever. So the care work, because we have in Switzerland, is absolutely horrible. I would say there's basically no childcare. The whole care work is still related to women, and that is and stays the biggest hurdle. And in general, the whole question of a positioning of women. So if you come to a certain position, if you have no kids, that's not good. If you have kids, that's not good. If you,
Yeah.
it's a situation where I think in general hasn't changed a lot. Plus, if you look at all the studies and the statistics from Albright Foundation, for example, there's changed something. We have women on board, but we have one woman out of 10 men. And we are working very closely together with an organization, European Women on Board.
Yeah.
It's basically an organization that trains women to get job board positions. And I was asking myself, and I asked the leader and said, hey, is there any such institution for training men for board position? No, they are born naturally into this position and no one questions their qualifications. And for us, it is still that we always have to check
Over
our.
prepare.
I think this is something, if we don't take care of care work and of child care, and especially, and you see how it works if you look to the countries like Netherlands, Denmark, Sweden, Finland, the whole Nordic countries. They do this very, very well. And even France, for example, this is totally normal that a woman works. And to come to an end here, it is so super important that women work full time, because, or let's say whatever they work. If they don't, when they are old and they have always only worked part time and they get divorced, there is no guarantee in life that you have one marriage that will help.
Yeah.
Then if you don't work as a woman, if you take care of all the jobs, the care work, then this is the first step into age poverty.
Yeah.
Therefore, I think this is something you have to think about it. And even women say, well, okay, Switzerland maybe is an exemption to the rule because here on average, this is a very, very wealthy country. But
Yeah.
go to the border, Germany, Italy, Austria. If you don't work and you reach the age of 65 and you get your pension, you can hardly live from this pension. Also, you work your whole life, so that's important if we need to take care of child
Over. Yeah.
care. Take it from there. And these are the biggest hurdles in my eyes.
These are okay. So you said a few things that I wanted to pick up on. One would be maternity leave, and the other one is part-time work. Because when you read that book, um, Becoming, Michelle Obama, she talks about part-time work. I strongly recommend my clients, my female clients, to not work part-time because they end up doing work every day, but then they get paid less.
Yep.
And so I don't encourage it because I know how committed they are to their works, to
Yep.
their to their jobs, to their companies, to their teams, and then they end up in a disadvantage for that reason. But then also, a lot of them get punished for leaving on the maternity leave, returning to sometimes lower responsibility, lower salaries, lower titles, removed from
Yep.
committees and removed from more visible work and projects that they had before because the maternity break maybe maybe they forgot everything they knew during the break, so they come back to restarting from scratch in many ways,
Yeah. They
even if
get
it's 1 year.
line. They get sidelined by the
Mm,
companies, that's for sure. But again, I'm asking myself, why is this job not being, why are men not taking their part here as well? And they don't want to. But I have to be quite honest, I'm not an expert there, but I see it, of course, and I hear a lot of stories that people coming back, women coming back from maternity leave, and they find themselves in a new position, which is like far
mm,
beyond their qualifications, etc., etc. And yeah, and then some of them, if they're good, they sue the company, but you don't have the power and the energy
to
to do,
make, yeah, 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 yeah.
etc., etc. This is still a case. Plus all this, whenever you ask them, there are famous women, they, let's say, they work with their partner, both work 4 days a week, which is, by the way, standard in Netherlands. However, here in Switzerland, they work. She's a CFO of a big, 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 big company, medtech company, and he works for, I don't know, one of Accenture, one of these big companies, both 4 days. So if she is with the kids one day on the playground, she gets blamed for not being there all the time by the other others. If he is there with the kids, he's the hero.
Mm.
That is also something we have to think about. But again, I think it starts with, we need to have a better system, that it is crystal clear that we have a society where all these care workers, and it's like you can just like extend it to all the care workers, the nurses, the fire workers, etc., etc. We need to make sure that these people who are taking this care in charge, that they are paid better. As long as we have a someone in kindergarten paid, I don't know, less than someone who works as a cashier for Aldi or so, then something is wrong in this picture. They have a big responsibility, and this is our future, these kids. So we need to take care. We need to rethink how we operate. But the glory always goes to, I don't know, to a famous banker whose bank is bankrupt today or whatsoever. So we have, I think, as a society, we need to rethink how we position ourselves. And I'm not left wing, but we need to think about what we do here instead of, putting money into systems like military system, which is, of course, it's also important. I don't doubt at all. But we need to rethink how we as a society will deal with this care work in general.
Yeah. There's a book by Iris Bonet. She, I think she still is, I'm not sure, but she was at the board of Credit Suisse and also one of the deans of, so one of the faculties at Harvard. She's Swiss. She wrote a book called What Works. And she was explaining, at the end of the day, what works is to see role models doing it, because then we start to believe we can also do it. Because if I see a woman in the board, then I can project myself
Yeah.
to maybe one day be there.
I
So,
think there's a saying, it says like, you can't become what you don't see. This is
mhm.
with role models. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's the name I think that inspired me when I saw your brand. I thought about this book because she was really proving by A plus B, that it's pretty simple actually. If we see it, we can then put that as a goal,
Mhm,
design the strategy, and
mhm,
achieve that. Um, Now, yeah, it's not so simple. I think, well, I recommend people reading the book because I like how she explains it. It's not because we're nice; it's because it's actually profitable for companies to be diverse, and she
mhm.
really breaks it down in a very commercially savvy strategy. Right? It's smart to do it that way. So that's just um, of course it separates, I think, some of us who are, oh, I'm a feminist, oh well, I'm more about meritocracy, if you're good, you should get the job. Yes and no. To some extent, I think quotas do help. So when we look at quotas for board seats, for that are destined for women, or minorities or underrepresented people, I think that does help shift the balance,
Mhm.
and then we can go on with meritocracy. But that's something, I saw that also published recently under, Women for the Board, I believe it was. I don't know if you partner with them here in Switzerland, but she was mentioning that we do need those positive discriminations. What is your opinion on the matter? Tell me.
On women on board,
No, no, on like quotas and
I think we need to without quota we're getting. Oh, bless you.
sorry.
I think without quota we're getting nowhere because look, we if you look at university degrees, master degrees, they're at least basically there are at least as many women as men are. There are some exemptions to the rule, very very technical driven subjects, but so we are all each equally qualified than the men are. And again, I think it's for us that we expect that we have women trained for the board, whereas a man gets this position without anything. And without quota we'll get nowhere. I'm 100%, I think we need to look at it. And all the men who get the position, they are also not all qualified, but it is like a matter of fact, and that will women have to live with this position, that as long as it is normal, as it isn't normal that we do have 50% equal gender on the board. Then if a woman makes a mistake, she's gone, she's done, and that's a big problem. But I think we need to implement it, and there's the European Union rule where you have to implement a certain number of women to the board of the Forbes of the big companies. And if you haven't implemented that, then you're out of the race. You won't get with the big one. They won't get the funding you need. You won't get all the, what is the English word for that? You're out of the race if you don't implement it. And I think it's really funny that we need such pressure to
Yeah.
have it done. And I think without pressure, nothing will help.
Oh yeah,
Nothing.
that leads us to change. Change is not organic. It's. I think it has to be pushed, but
Yeah.
then sustaining it is challenging for sure, and not going back to your old habits. But oh my God, Petra, this is really fun. I do want to open for the audience if they have questions.
Yeah. If there is any question, yes, I'm happy.
Yeah, if they're curious about the model that you're bringing, how to support it, how to be part of it, how to maybe also bring knowledge and add value to your platform. In any case, for me, this was really eye opening. I'm really thankful that you took the time, because this is probably a lot of unpaid work that you're doing to bring these women forward. Yeah.
Yeah, but I like it. I think I do it for a purpose, and I've met so many outstanding women. So I really like what I'm doing. I met you through these platforms, so
Yeah.
it's all super good. And just like to if someone would like to go to the website, do they see the link I've put in the chat?
Oh, we will put the link then on
Oh, super,
the,
super good.
yeah.
You just apply and then become a member of this amazing network, and yeah, take it from there. And we are really intent to grow, and this is what I like to see happen over the next years.
To apply to the membership. So there's a selection process that takes place, or is it
It
fairly?
is,
Yeah.
basically, if someone applies and tells us why they want to be member, and if we have a look at their LinkedIn profile, we so far have rejected, I think, five, which four one were men, and one was someone with a fake profile. So basically, it's not a selection process. This application is important for us that we really know who is the one who would like to be a member, what are their interests, to get to know the people a little bit more. That's our interest.
And only women can apply, correct?
Women members are only women. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just gonna make sure to put the link here, so people know where to apply.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, apply here to the community, the role. Hold on.
Model rebels.
Yes, that's it. In plural, because there are many. 3,000 now, you mentioned, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, this, I think, brings us to our conclusion. I don't want to hold you longer, but I'm sure questions will come. You will have people ping you and ask you a little bit more, whether on LinkedIn or other platforms, about what you're building. And I can't wait to see what comes next and to follow closely and encourage and support in any way I can. And I just really thank you for sharing all of this here today, taking the time to educate us, and also, again, thank you for doing this. Really, this is a great community that started, what, 2 years ago, and you're like 3,000 people. That's fantastic. That's a lot of work that goes behind this. So you and
Thank
your
you.
volunteers.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much, Rebecca. It was really a pleasure that I could be here today. And whoever has questions, you can find me on LinkedIn. You can also write on our website. There's an email address. You can also apply there. You can also support articles, etc., etc. Just have a look at our site, and if there's any question, just go ask us.
Oh, and for people looking to hire in more diverse terms, and are looking for women with
Yeah,
talent, this is a pool of talent that you are
exactly.
nurturing, and that you can make available to
Exactly.
corporates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, super. Thank you so much, Rebecca.
Thank you very much, Petra. I wish you a good evening. Thank you, everyone, for watching.
You.